Now we turn to a topic many of you will relate to, the reality of being a mom. In our journey to become a stellar mother, there are simple but unpleasant truths that happy veteran moms have just learned to accept and embrace. Life coach and author Connie Sokol is here to share 3 unpleasant realities of motherhood. Let's get it out of the way. Moms love their jobs. They love their kids, but at the end of the day, it's a hard job and those kids can be kind of difficult.
Yes, it can be super hard, and people can say it in sort of this patronizing tone, oh, that's so hard, but they don't know until you really are in it, and they don't understand all that is required all the time. The multi-tracks that you are on, tracking their emotional, physical, spiritual, what's they're all doing with all of your children, plus your husband, plus yourself, and trying to keep it all together. So it is a deal.
Let me ask you the question, because we always do try to play up the positive, and for good reason, but this title, Unpleasant Realities of Motherhood, what do we gain by acknowledging these so-called unpleasant realities?
I think we gain that we are normal. I mean, I think sometimes women see other women dressed to the nines, or they beautiful blogs, and they're wonderful, but I think they start feeling like something's wrong with me. And it's so normal to be less than, to be having a difficult day, to not be able to manage and navigate and organize and do all those things on a daily basis. We have more required of us than is humanly possible to do. So we are going to be unsuccessful at some of the things that we do in motherhood.
What I love about this topic, about you're a good example of this, and about our theme, Live Without Pretending, is it puts us all on the same team. And don't we need that support and those cheerleaders?
We do, and I think women can be the best of friends and the worst of enemies. And I really think if women can be more kind to one another and more acknowledging and understanding of, I've been in your shoes. And knowing, even if you're not, if you've got one child and you're with someone who has 5 and you're thinking, why doesn't she control them? Just think in your mind, oh, I might be there someday, and I will want someone who is kind to me.
Unpleasant reality number 1, you will be the flaky mom.
Absolutely.
The flaky mom that you never thought you'd be.
That drives you nuts. Absolutely. I mean, and this is not being irresponsible or lazy. This is, you have children and commitments, and then one thing changes and it dominoes into your life, and then your carpool changes, and all of these things. It just is going to happen. A few years ago, I have this saintly friend, and she is a doll. And I just went through this period where my hormones were out of whack, and the kids were go-go, and it was just their ages, and I could not get myself together to save my neck with this one woman. Our daughters had preschool, and then we had dance together a year or 2 later for like 2 or 3 years. I mean, it wasn't every time, but it was like every 4th or 5th time, and I'd forget where, or the tights, or I was supposed to pick up instead of take.
And it was always associated with her, her family, her daughter.
Yes, with this poor woman, and she was so kind. Never mean, never rude to me. I love her. And I just remember at the time thinking, what can I do? And of course I brought the little symbolic treats and olive branches and stuff, but I thought, how can I pay that back? And then I became friends with the flaky mom, and she could not keep it together to save her life. And I remember the first 10 times, you know, you kind of get a little, you know, annoyed.
Irritated.
But then beyond that, you're like, woman, get it together. I've got a life here, you know. And then this feeling thought came of, remember Anne. So like, remember the Alamo, remember Anne. And I thought, yes, this good woman now has a lot of comp time coming, because it was 2 or 3 years with Anne, so I can give her some slack.
So rather than judging, letting that irritation consume us, we just accept that we will all be flaky at one point or the other.
Exactly, and give that gift to her, because you're going to get that gift back, whether you realize it or not. People are being very patient with you.
I love that. Unpleasant reality number 2 is kind of hard to admit. It's kind of hard to even say out loud. You will feel less than.
Yes, and you will actually be less than. It's even more than feeling. You will be less than. You will be this woman who can have it together, and you will not be able to do it because of the variables that are in your life. I remember years ago, I was speaking at this large business conference about tidying up your life and your business and everything and having it together, blah, blah, blah. And so we were walking out, and the women left, and they came out, and they were helping me with my stuff out to the car, and they were being so sweet. And then they opened the passenger car door, and here down the side is this river of ketchup that my sons had left me the night before. And where I was sitting in the car, I could not see where that, and we all just looked at it, deathly silent. And this one woman started laughing, obvious veteran mother, and I just thought, I like you. You are my BFF. But she just totally understood, and we laughed it off, but I just thought, that is what will happen. Someone will take out the garbage, and the dogs will get into it, and there'll be diapers everywhere, and that's the day a whole meeting committee is coming to your home. Own it. Laugh about it. Just blow it off and say, step over those, and we'll just come in the house.
And when you say own it, there is something about acknowledging it now, so that when it does happen, when the ketchup is all over the car, you can just laugh.
Absolutely. I remember years ago, my son, he got out. It was the first time he got out in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. I looked and I saw the open door, running out in my nightgown, trying to find him. Here comes this car is stopping in the middle of the road. I'm like, he's mine, he's mine. This man just brings him to me and gave me the dirtiest look. Like, can't you keep your children? Well, here comes this woman driving after, and she was older, must have been like 55. 55, 60. She was young. So she was driving by, and she looked over, and she threw her head back out and laughed as I was holding this baby in my nightgown. And I just knew. She knew. She knew exactly what I was going through.
Yes, we need that support. Unpleasant reality number 3. Again, one that can be hard to admit, especially for us perfectionists, but you will drop the ball as a mom.
Absolutely. And there are different kinds. There are the kinds that you could have controlled and the kinds that you have no control over, but you still get the blame for. Like a friend of mine had no control. Her son took state in wrestling, and so there was this big banquet that was celebrating all these state champions. He did not tell her. So they had the parents there, this big thing. He comes home, gives her a flower and earrings, and then says, "You were the only mom that wasn't there."
Oh, dagger.
Do you want to just between, I'm going to rip your lips off, and then, oh, it's not her fault, but the pain, you still feel that pain of that was a missed moment.
I imagine.
Yes. And then there's the balls that you do drop, and that you just have to acknowledge this is going to happen. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent it, but it's going to happen. Like one night, my daughter wanted her first layover, and she wanted to go to midnight, and I said, no, I will pick you up at 11:30, and it was just
in place of a sleepover.
In place of a sleepover, because we don't do those. And so I said layover, and so this was a big deal. And I said, but no, I will be there at 11:30. I love you, and this is a big deal, but 11:30. So 11:15, I get ready for bed. It's late, I'm tired, I'm doing the usual routine, and I can't sleep. I'm in my nightgown again, I live in that. And I'm like reading a book thinking, why can't I sleep? She calls me the good girl at 11:30. Are you coming to pick me up? I just went, oh my gosh, after my Lord of the Rings, ye shall not pass, you are coming home at 11:30. I'm like, I'll be right there. So these are the moments where you go, oh, that was a loser mom moment, but there you go. You accept it, you embrace it, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna learn from this, we'll laugh about it, eat some chocolate, we'll move on.
We will move on. I remember in reference to dropping the ball when Amanda Dixon from KSL News Radio, who has such great refreshing perspective, I think, about things. One time she said to me, sometimes you're just doing the best you can. And that's kind of been a mantra when you are dropping the ball or when you are that flaky individual. Sometimes it's just doing the best that you can each and every day.
Absolutely, and accepting this is a rite of passage of parenting. This is what happens when you have other people, variables, agency, choice involved. This is what's going to happen. So embrace it and acknowledge and laugh and pull together through it, not fragment yourself because of it.
Connie, my friend, I could talk to you all day. I love it. We do want to let viewers know in this month of love, you're giving them a little deal and a little outlet to celebrate.
Yes, the Caribbean Crossroad. That's an award-nominated romance, and I'm just putting it on today only for KSL viewers, $1.99 on Kindle. And so get it today. It's such a juicy, fun, clean romance.
We're
so fun.
so proud of you for that. So Kindle.
Thank you, Kindle. Yep.
Okay, Connie, thank you so much. Call me